We're here with Serena Coffman with Vessel Chiro. This is the Boise Wellness Podcast, where we interview health and wellness professionals to help you live a better life. Serena, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. I just wanted to ask you first, how did you get into this health profession? How did you become a chiropractor?
So my parents pushed me towards dentistry. They wanted me to be a doctor. And then they looked at all the options of under the umbrella of doctor and thought that dentistry had the best work-life balance with the best pay. So I did tons of shadowing under dentists and was pre-dental in undergrad and did volunteer work with Pre-Dental Society, all of it. And I sat down for a whole winter break and studied for the dental admissions exam and told myself, okay, I'm going to get through this, going to put in my time to study for it. And not let this dental admissions exam studying be the deciding factor if I want to do this or not. So I finished winter break. I was like, okay, I did it, and I don't want to be a dentist.
Okay.
And so then I took some time to think about, okay, well, what do I like? And my mom suggested chiropractic, but my senior year of my senior year of undergrad, I went and started a business in the fashion industry, did that for a year, realized the fashion industry is not for me. And I do love healthcare. And that's when I dove back into chiropractic because I love serving people. I love networking. I want to be an entrepreneur. And chiropractic is a good way to do all of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been here in the Treasure Valley for how long?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And been doing your chiropractic business from the first moment you got here?
No, I moved here and finished my schooling with a internship. And then I took a 3-month break after graduation, just so I wasn't making big business decisions in this stressed grad school fight or flight mode. I knew I wanted some time. And then I also got pregnant, right after graduation. So it wasn't a good time to think about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I kind of wanted time to assess, okay, what does life look like with 2 little ones? This boss girl, gonna do it all thing it kind of goes to the wayside when you have kids. And so taking time to reassess what that looked like. So I started my practice out of my home in March of 2023. I think I was 3 months pregnant at that point. So just a home-based practice, no stress, no overhead, a way to just start getting my systems and procedures in place to figure out what I wanted the rest to look like.
So who are the people that you're seeing at Vessel? Who's your population?
Yeah, so I bought a practice 3 months ago, and that kind of expanded who I see. But his patient base was very similar to mine. So it's moms with their kids. So it's all family is my ideal. So I'm seeing pregnant mothers, postpartum, their babies, kiddos with behavioral stuff or sleep or digestion. And then just a lot of people who are interested in wellness, who they started care because they had low back pain. And then once they realized all of the benefits of nervous system-based chiropractic, they love the idea of staying well and regulated under regular care. So I see a lot of just adults who are just doing their thing, sports, work, all of that.
You said nervous system-based chiropractic. Can you just expand on that a little bit? What does that mean?
Yeah. So there's kind of 2 big branches of chiropractic, I feel like. There is the vitalistic type of chiropractors, which is the whole body, our nervous system. We're created as a self-healing, self-regulating organism. And through lots and lots of research, we're starting to understand that chiropractic is changing the nervous system, or has the ability to change the nervous system. And so when you're focusing on that being what you address first, it is nervous system health by removing stress from the body that expresses itself through the spine and all of the nerves that branch out of the spine. You can help people come out of those fight or flight modes and all the symptoms from that. And so that's my focus. And then another branch, which is perfectly fine, just a different focus, is more the mechanistic. So like body part hurts here, I move this, body part does not hurt. And that's kind of the end of the story. So people come in for that because that's what they understand chiropractic to be for the most part. There's a lot of moms who are on Instagram and learning from all of these other like big name chiropractors who are like, wait a minute, my kids can be well. Like my kids aren't coming in with low back pain. They're coming in with trouble focusing and trouble sleeping or regulating emotions. So those people are starting to jump on board. But yeah.
So walk me through what a typical visit would look like then. If they're coming to you for the very first time and say someone is struggling with focus, what does that first session with you look like? What are you assessing?
So if it's like a kiddo struggling with focus, I'm talking to mom about their symptoms in their day-to-day. Like what are they struggling with? Trying to get some objective measures of like, well, how long do you feel like they can sit still? What subjects do they struggle with the most? How is sleep? How is digestion? Because those are all kind of related, right? And so I listen to mom, and if depending on the age of the child, they can input too. But they're usually like, this is my normal. I don't know what you're talking about. And so then I have technology called CLA insight scans. And so there's 3 different scans. First one is heart rate variability. So you just put your fingers in the sensors, and with the temperature of your skin and your heart rate and conductance, for 3 minutes it measures all of those signals and then kind of plots you on a graph of where your system is lying in terms of how stressed you are, like what your energy reserves are, and your nervous system. So are you in the sympathetic, which is fight or flight or tight, or are you in parasympathetic, which is the rest, digest, heal? And so it plots them on a graph, which is super helpful with kiddos because they can't tell us how stressed they are. So that's an objective measure for us. And then we have thermography. So we just roll a thermography kind of like detector up their spine to see where are tissues really warm, which can detect stress, and where are they almost maybe too cool, so they're kind of shut down and not functioning the way they should. And then the third is EMG, which picks up on how much energy the tissues around the spine are putting out. So how hard they're working, how much energy their body's putting into compensations or stress that our body is kind of harbored in those areas. And so that's great for kids, especially since they can't communicate a lot of those things with us. So we do those, and then if it is adult and it's indicated, I x-ray. And then I typically adjust on the first appointment now because I want people to understand what I'm offering and what they can expect with my care. And then when they come back, we review the scans. I give them my opinion on frequency of care, and then let them decide how they want to move forward.
Do you generally have long-term relationships with people?
Yeah, that's my goal.
Okay. So you were talking about a whole family maybe coming and seeing you.
Yeah.
Have you had any like specific, just like patients that stick out to you where you've had a huge amount of success? Like that would be like not your typical, but like the things that stick out to you that allow you to keep going with this.
Yeah, that's right. When everyone's under wellness, it's like, okay, what am I doing here? You guys are great. And it's hard to like be super excited because I'm not solving any like big problems. So yeah, let me think. There's lots of little things that have sparked here and there. With kiddos, I don't have my own personal story yet because I jumped into a lot of these kiddos' care after the previous doc had like gotten them under wellness.
Gotcha. So
I know their story, but I wasn't like a participant in their big change of story. But I do have a couple more so adults who have noticed like, okay, I came in because I was pregnant. And that's just what you're supposed to do when you're pregnant and you're in pain. Like that, chiropractors are helpful, but I'm sleeping through the night now, and I can tell I'm not
as huge.
Yeah, and like falling asleep better. and like moving better, like that's like, oh yeah, sure, that's what chiropractors do all day. You will move better for sure. But the sleeping better and the less anxious are two that I hear a lot, because we're just like, by removing stress from the nervous system, it allows your body to come out of that fight or flight and just be balanced, which takes people off guard, but it's a really fun result that they come back. Yeah.
I would agree. I mean, a lot of my treatment is the same in that we're trying to drop people from that sympathetic state that they get stuck in. And let's drop back into that parasympathetic system. And it's just awesome to watch when someone's like, wow, I didn't know that I was so stressed out. I didn't know I was there.
Yeah.
Do you do some things for yourself to take care of that?
Explain.
Like, are there any practices that you have to help keep you from getting stuck up there in that sympathetic nervous system?
I mean, I'm under chiropractic care with Lauren, who you have interviewed. We trade, because I know how important it is. And if I'm going to ask my patients to be under wellness care, I need to be under wellness care, because it makes a huge difference. And then also I'm a Christian, and so my prayer life is what regulates me. I'm also a mom of 2 little ones, and so I don't have time for I don't feel like I have time to put towards breathing practices and all these other things. So definitely just prayer. Even if it's a little thing, oh, this is stressful, Lord, can you please be with me in this moment and guide me?
That's
awesome. I feel like that grounds me so much. Yeah.
Certainly. Just as things are changing all the time with health, wellness, I feel like every month you can come up with something new on Instagram that people are talking about. Are there certain things that excite you that you're learning about and seeing or things that you kind of see coming down the pike in the future that you're interested in applying to your practice? Yeah,
there's 2 trends. One of them is because I have my eye on it a lot, and now the algorithm is just feeding me all sorts of things. But the first is all of this hype about the vagal nerve stimulation. And when I saw that, I was like, well, that's what chiropractors do. It's literally, we don't stimulate the vagus nerve. We take stress off the vagus nerve by adjusting the atlas, right? Because the vagus nerve runs literally through the bone, the atlas bone, that first bone in the spine. And by removing stress and aligning the atlas, we're taking stress off the vagus nerve. So it doesn't have to have constant stimulation to function properly. It's we're the OG vagus nerve regulators, and all these people are getting devices because they're picking up on how much the vagus nerve is our parasympathetic nerve. It goes, you know this, but I'll just explain a little bit.
Yeah, no, awesome.
It's our rest and digest and heal and reproductive nerve, as it goes through the whole body, telling us to slow down and regulate. And so when that's messed up, which is easy to do, the atlas is easily subluxated and stressed, starting from birth, right? The birth experience. So people are picking up on how important it is in regulating the nervous system, but using tools to band-aid it still. But to me, it's exciting. Okay, people are picking up on it, and now we just need to communicate that we are a solution instead of a band-aid. And so that's exciting to me. And then the second one is, so I'm also practicing functional medicine, and eczema is a huge, I don't want to say passion of mine. Helping people with eczema is a passion, but it's so complex. And I think I've taken a class, there's 7 root causes of eczema, which is insane when people are trying to work through it. I had it for 25 years. I mean, I still have it, but it's not expressing itself. And my solution is now apparently different than my daughter's solution, who has it, who's 3. And so figuring out solutions like using silver as treatment is blowing my mind. All of these remedies are really cool, but addressing gut health, addressing nervous system, which regulates gut health, all of these modalities to help people stop expressing stress via eczema, which is rampant in children right now. So I'm excited about that, but still definitely learning a lot.
Do you find, sorry, I'm I want to focus a little bit on that because it's interesting to me. And I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with that, especially with kids. My own son has eczema.
Yeah.
And it's always like, man, that just flared up out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And so do you always find that is attributed to a direct stress that's happening?
No.
Is it easy to...
Right, as parents, we're like, what was it?
Yeah.
Nothing changed. Like you're watching like a hawk. You're like, no, I have no idea. As a parent, it's totally lost, right? So I think in general, and having eczema myself for so long, in general, eczema ebbs and flows, like weekly, right? Like they'll be clearing up. You're like, wow, I don't know what we did, but we solved the problem. And then the next day, it's a huge flare, right? And is that stress that they don't express emotionally? That's just kind of like harboring, like they experienced something and then they were stressed. I don't know. I've decided to stop chasing symptoms because it's going to drive us crazy, and drive other parents crazy who even like, because I'm aware of all these things on the back end, probably like you're aware of all of these things that could be triggers, and other parents aren't even aware of those. So just to ask people to like, okay, what about this. So my goal is to stop chasing, what triggered that, and to start having the mindset of why is her body so easily triggered? So what's the root of being so easily stressed? Like, are there parasites? Is there just general nervous system dysregulation and she needs more help in her immune system to calm down? Or is there a food allergy? I mean, we've thought took out food allergies, but what's happening is like, okay, we take out the food allergy and she's good for a few weeks, and then the food that she's eating the most of becomes the next food allergy. Okay. So like, why is her body responding like that? Like she doesn't actually have all these food allergies, in my opinion. Her body is just deciding to overreact to the proteins in these things that she's eating. So, but why?
Yeah.
There's 7 reasons. Like some people, it's straight up like whatever touches their skin, it's just a contact irritant. And once you take that out of their life, they're fine. Some people, it's parasites. And once you find the right method to remove those parasites, they're totally fine. Once you take out sugar, fine. And it's like, we have tried all of them. And I say, okay, so God is just teaching me to be patient and humble. And maybe once we get to the end of this, I'll be able to help every kid because I will have tried everything.
Everything with your own daughter.
Yeah. What about you guys? What have you tried?
It's mostly been, a lot of it's contact based for him. Mm-hmm. So ketchup, if it gets on his face, like it's like a red spot right away. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, probiotics have been very helpful for him. So gut health stuff has been super, super helpful in just like clearing stuff up. Yeah. So I think that hopefully that'll be something that'll continue to be helpful. Yeah. And there's so many ways you can support gut health moving from there. Yeah. So I think in general, this is true for most people. It's like you might do really well when you're in your normal environment, but then when something changes a little bit, like you switch from wintertime to summertime and you're in the water a lot more, like that's when things change for you in different ways. So yeah, I think what you talked about reminds me of we're trying to build resilience in a lot of different ways so that everything isn't a problem. Right. Like every little thing isn't a problem. It's like when something really is a problem, your body tells you about it. But when it's not, it just, boom, taken care of. It can adapt. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Are there any other things that you're passionate about you wanted to talk about today? Those were the big things, like regulating the nervous system, understanding that chiropractic is more than just like cracking bones and getting you out of low back pain. It can have a whole body effect. I'm very passionate about that. And then eczema, which I was talking to you about, which is like, I'm clearly not an expert yet, but I know a heck of a lot more than the average Joe, just in my personal experience and my daughter's experience and then what I've tried to track down in continuing education.
Hey, we hope you guys liked that show. If you're curious about any links to the professional we just interviewed, you can see that down below. But just a little bit about us. I'm one of the hosts, Craig Flood. I'm a local real estate agent and helps people with residential and commercial listings.
My name's Trevor Schmidt. I'm a physical therapist at Activated Movement Physical Therapy.
And we came together to make this podcast to help people here in the Treasure Valley find wellness professionals so that you guys can live a healthy and